Hello, it's Mayo. Welcome back to my channel. This is a different setup because we're doing a sit down chit chat. I'm coming to you guys like looking so professional, wearing a shirt and all. So I tweeted something and it got a bit of traction, and I had a lot of requests or a lot of questions asking how I navigated my UI UX journey, and I thought, why not make that a video instead of sending people individual replies, because it was quite a lot. So thank you to everyone who subscribed, who asked for this video. Also, if you're coming from my newsletter, hello, and if you're not subscribed to my newsletter, the link is in the description below. So a quick disclaimer: this video is not in any way, shape or form like a set way of navigating a tech career or a career in design. It really isn't. It's just my experience and what I use to navigate how to learn and how to grow in design. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and this video is going to be in sections, so there'll be timestamps in the description box. You can just click on it if you're just looking for a particular thing. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so first thing, backstory. Why did I decide to go into tech? I was in my final year studying law, and also I was doing photography, but I decided to move to tech. And the reason why was, it was in the thick of the pandemic. We were on lockdown. I was in my parents' house during this period, and I was having a conversation with my mom, and she asked me if I know what I want to do with my life, because she knew that I wasn't really interested in studying law. And in my head it was tricky because I liked photography and I liked being creative, but it wasn't particularly clicking for me the way I wanted it to click. And also, we were in a pandemic, like no one was taking pictures, everybody was inside. So I was thinking of a career where I could do in my house. I didn't have to think of logistics of planning shoots, nothing like that. So what I did during that point, apart from praying, because my mom made me like go to the Lord in prayer, I also was going on Business of Fashion. I went on Business of Fashion website every day, and I was window shopping for jobs. So I would go on jobs that I feel like I was interested in and look at the criteria, the skills, or the things that employers wanted. I wasn't looking towards any particular role. I was just looking for something creative that I could do from my house. And so I actually made a list, I think April, so I put a screenshot somewhere. I made a list of like skills I should learn if I want to go for these roles. And somehow UI UX was in there, and I forgot about that list. So I tried to go back into photography. I wasn't feeling it anymore. And then I was at a dinner, my best friend's dinner party, December 2020, and a few of our friends were there, and I was jokingly asking, like, are you looking for photographers, or are you looking for something creative? And someone on the table was like, you should try UI UX. And I said, what is UI UX? Because in my head, I've been seeing UI UX on my TL, but it sounded like DYDX, and that sounded like math, and I'm not great at math. So I was like, oh, what is UI UX? And then they pointed me to the book, which I'm going to refer to in my resources. So before I go into the resources, something I feel like people should think of before looking for a career in tech, or before even moving to design, if you want to use that to enter tech, is your mindset. Ask yourself, why do you want to go into tech, and why do you want to go into design specifically to enter tech? Because I feel like a lot of people think design is easy because they no code way to enter tech. You don't want to learn how to code, so let us just design and enter tech. But I feel like you don't necessarily have to do design or even code to enter tech. You can actually do what you're doing now and then be in tech. Before you think of switching the skill set to enter tech, I think you should consider also what you're doing now and how you can apply that to tech. Also, I feel like people think, oh, tech, easy money, like if you get into tech, you're going to get paid well, which is true, but I think you should have a bigger purpose of entering tech, or why you're entering tech, apart from the money. Because when you are starting, the money is not coming. You need something bigger than the money to keep you there when the money is not coming. When you're like beginning, entry level, when you're doing that unpaid internship, you need something bigger than financial incentive to make you keep going. So let's get on to the resources. So the first thing, which was recommended to me by this friend at the dinner party, was Michelle Chunubu's Clueless Designer. That book literally changed everything for me. Anytime someone asks me what should I do to learn UI UX, I would say go and read Michelle Chunubu's Clueless Designer, because literally it takes you from clueless to being a designer. And I'm not saying like you'll be like a senior designer when you're done, but you would have a good and solid background about design. The thing about design is that it is easily accessible, but there's a lot of information out there and it's overwhelming. Like, if you want to start, where do you start from? So Clueless Designer kind of breaks it down. It gives you a 12-week curriculum of things you should do weekly and how you can progress in learning. Personally, I finished the book in 12 weeks, so about 3 months I was reading that book every day. But you can stretch the curriculum if you like, according to your schedule. I would recommend sticking to the 12 weeks, but the book covers everything from like the basics of design, from like typography, design principles, for instance, UX research methodologies, UI, like how to create grids and layouts. It teaches you color theory, everything you need to learn really about how to start. And I've decided to also give away one copy of this book to somebody, and the details of that will be at the end of this video, so stay tuned to the end to know how to win this book. But yeah, so I would recommend to start with that book because that's what I started with. Second thing I did was that I enrolled at a boot camp. So I finished that book around like March 15th or March 16th 2021, and after that I was like, okay, so I need a way to kind of make everything I've learned practical, to bring it to life in some way, but I didn't know how to. And Twitter is amazing. I was scrolling through my feed one day and I came across this tweet. I think someone retweeted it to my TL, but I came across this tweet and it was like online bootcamp for developers, for designers, everything. And I was like, okay, great, it's free, it's online, I'm going to sign up. And that was the first time I actually opened Figma. That was the first time I actually did any sort of practical work with UI UX. So how the bootcamp works is you get registered, you have like a dashboard, you get assignments. We even did a group work. I was the design lead for my group, where you get to collaborate with other people learning in other pathways. So you're put in a group with developers and all of that, so you can create something at the end of your boot camp. The boot camp I went to was Zuri training, and it lasted a few weeks. I can't remember how long it was, but it lasted a while. And the boot camp was great because I could use that as part of my experience for my resume. So I was an intern at the boot camp and I put that as part of my experience. There are other boot camps also. I know there is the HNG internship. I would try to look for and link other internship or other boot camps rather, that you can use to learn. I think boot camps are great for having practical experience because they grade you and also give you prompts and things to do. Also, you get assignments. I feel like a lot of people don't excel in boot camps because of, like, you have your life to live, yeah, but you have to also know how to balance it with what you're trying to achieve. So like during the boot camp, I think I was even having like tests and exams in school because I was still in school doing this in my final year, and I had to just prioritize. There were times that I didn't really, my laptop was a Celeron processor. Even though it's a Celeron processor, you know, it's the slowest thing on this earth, and there were times when my laptop would just hang and I needed to submit the assignment. I would actually have to go to a friend's house to borrow their laptop to do my assignments because I'm that desperate to learn. And I feel like if you're doing a boot camp, you need that intensity of, this is what I want to achieve at the end, so I need to do this well at this boot camp stage. But I will link other boot camps. I think I would do some research, link some things, check the description box, everything will be there. Also, for online courses, when I was on the boot camp, I felt like my UI needed practice. I needed to improve my UI. So randomly, I was talking to your friends, people. Randomly, I was talking to a friend and I was like, oh, I'm going into tech and you know, I'm doing UI UX, I'm switching to UI UX. And it was like, oh, try this course. I saw this course on awards.com and it was like a UI course, and I was like, great. So I started watching the course, and a lot of the things that they said during the course were things that I'd read from the book Clueless Designer, and also I learned in the boot camp, so it wasn't drastically different. But something that helped me to learn was UI. I didn't actually finish that course because by the time I got to like the proper designing stage, I did not really agree with a lot of the design decisions, but I learned a lot of UI there, and I will link the course below in case anybody's interested in it. But I did that to help me with my UI. I didn't finish it. I feel like I could have just done a YouTube, but you know, no regrets. I also did the Google UX design course. I think they're one of 7. I think there are like 7 stages. I only did the first one. I don't know how I feel about that. It was alright. I also felt like the things there were things that I learned from the book and from the boot camp. So unless you want the certificate or unless you've never done UI UX, I don't know if I would really recommend it. I don't know. It looks good on LinkedIn. I'd say it looks good on LinkedIn. So for books, I wouldn't say I've read a lot of design books. I tried reading The Design of Everything. I don't know if anybody has ever finished that book, but I didn't finish it. I don't even think I made it past the first chapter. I wasn't vibing with it. I also read Refactoring UI. I feel like with that, I realized that a lot of my specialization was in UI. So I read Refactoring UI. I would say that's the UI Bible. It works great. I would recommend it. Another way I learned was an internship I had. It was very intense, the internship. I interned there for 3 months before I got my full-time job, and I would say, like, looking back, the internship actually really helped me widen and helped me improve my UI UX skills, because we had a hackathon and oh my gosh, it was so intense. But I really did learn a lot. I learned about working in a team. I also learned what I wanted and what I did not want with my UI UX career. Next, other bits and bobs I think will be helpful with your UI UX journey. First of all, know that UI UX is not just about creating beautiful screens. You will be surprised. It's not about copying dribble designs or bare-hands designs. There's really more to that, because if you don't have the UX principles, even copying those designs, you won't be able to nail them because something will be off. So learn your UX if you just want to specialize in UI, because right now I am specializing in UI. I am a UI designer, but learn your principles of UX. Also, another thing I would recommend is to embrace the journey. And it took me about a year. It may take longer, it may take less. Embrace where you are now, because you know, the journey is beautiful. Like, when I look back, every single part of my UI UX journey was just great. I don't know how to describe it, but I enjoyed everything. I was excited about the book. I was excited about the boot camp. Also, I would say surround yourself with like-minded people. Personally, I didn't know any UI UX designers. Like, they were my friends. I didn't know anyone. And what I did was to curate my Twitter and Instagram TL. So I started following a lot of Nigerian designers, and I didn't know what they were talking about. They would post their screens, beautiful. They would post like things about UI UX, no clue, but I followed and I was learning. So to enter the giveaway, what you need to do is, first of all, be subscribed to this channel, follow me on Twitter, also like this video. It's not much, don't worry. And the last one, comment about anything design, maybe not design. If you have any questions, comment down below and leave your Twitter handle in your comments so that I can reach you and tell you that you won. I hope this video was very helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment and I will address them in my next video. My next video, I'm going to talk about how I went from an intern to a UI designer in less than a year. Thank you.